So one of the things I like to make fun of most are Baal Teshuvas, and a lot of people, mostly FFBs, are up in arms over this because it's not the way to bring them in. How are we going to make them Frum when we're always making fun of them? And I'm not making fun of them before they become Frum. I'm making fun of them after they become Frum, because there's something in the Baal Teshuva community known as the flaming BT. And the flaming BT is the person who just doesn't know what the heck they're doing, but they're doing it anyway, and they're like violent shuckling, and they're bowing, and they're doing all sorts of maneuvers and stuff. Those are my favorite BTs. The ones you can tell to drink the Mayim Achronim water. The ones who you can say the reason why we put the wine on our eyebrows after Abdullah is because it is battle paint for the week of Gashmias ahead, to get us through, pretty much. You can tell them that they can't flush toilets on Shabbos because it's carrying things from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. It's changing the color of the water. It's mixing. There's a lot of shilas to do with the toilet. There's just so many things you can really, BTs are nuts. They really are. Anyone to come into this religion is pretty crazy. And I myself, for sticking with it, is deemed as kind of crazy by most of the population, but so many of our ancestors died for our sins. So might as well. Not Jesus. Jesus died for our sins too, actually. But no, that's fine. But Baal Teshuvas they're just funny. Anyone who's extreme is funny. Anything can be making fun of, really. Really, anything is fun. I don't do Holocaust humor because the Frum community is basically 25 years behind everyone. In every respect. The women's rights movement is just happening. That's why the shidduch crisis is a big deal, because women decide to leave the kitchen and go work. And now that they're working, they want to have a career, and secular society has influenced them to gain more freedom, and therefore they become picky and choosy. 25 years ago, this wasn't a problem. You got married, that's it. But now people need freedom and choice, and the internet is probably part of that ill. And secular society, we basically caught up to secular society. Even in music, when's the last time you heard a Jewish artist do a song with a full marching band in the background? That's so 1980. And before then it was the 1960s for the non-Jews, and that sort of thing. So we've really progressed. Even Frum people are on YouTube, on Facebook, on all sorts of things now. And this is just an anomaly, considering the fact that 10 years ago they wanted to ban the internet. Think about that. And now people like me, wearing black velvet yarmulkes, who keep Shabbos to the point where I don't even carry an Eruv because I don't want to grow accustomed to it. Because I have developed myself. I have been kovish my yetzer. We're coming into the future, and the future is a scary place because most of those single girls are going to remain single. I know it sucks, but it's going to happen because guys like me, unless the girls start paying. If the girls start paying on the dates, I think the shidduch crisis could really take a turn for the better. But, we're stuck in our old ways. We're really stuck in our old ways. There are a lot of crises facing the Frum community. And they're all fun to make fun of, by the way. The yeshiva tuition crisis, Kollel people might actually have to start getting educations and work. I know it sucks. It's going to revolutionize the way we look at Torah. Maybe people will start sending their kids to public school again, 50 years ago, and they'll hire a malamed to teach their kids. Those kids turned out pretty well, except for the 80% of them that went off the derech or so. But plenty of kids are going off the derech still. There's so much enticements. Facebook is taking kids off the derech by droves. They're discovering things like knit yarmulkes and TV. You don't even have to say you don't have a TV anymore because TV's on the internet. So, we're coming into a new age. It's a new era. The phone in the background. The people I live with actually have a landline, which is kind of retro. They're hipsters, hipsters have things that no one else has. And there's even Jewish hipsters. I see these guys and sisters, pants, the whole thing, but their pants are really tight. Not those Sparta kids from Israel. Regular white folk with tight pants. And I'm like, what is up, man? They're like hipsters. They're listening to obscure Jewish music, like the Groggers or something like that. Actually kind of good, the Groggers. You should check them out, actually. It's not an ad for them, but they have that one video with a really, really good-looking girl in it. They have a video about, a Jewish song about giving a get. Imagine if these Jewish artists like Lipa or MVD or Avram Fried started writing songs about actual issues. You'd have, Lipa doing a song about the yeshiva tuition crisis, and Avram Fried does a song about, kids going off the derech, instead of these silly videos about a kid, he decides to wear a knit yarmulke and all of a sudden he's in rehab. That's how the yeshivish community still thinks, a little backward. But they're coming around because the internet, you see, they wanted to ban the internet because the internet provided transparency. Now they can't get rid of the internet, so now they have marketed products to make money off the internet, I don't know, filters and all things like that. But, you know, in the end, the internet's gonna, you know, the Chabad community has embraced the internet, and they really, you know, really caught on to a thing. Aish got in a little late, so their website isn't as cool. And then the yeshivish community is starting to embrace the internet. They're even starting to do kiruv. I mean, 30 years ago, yeshivish people, they were so anti-kiruv. I heard when the Rabbis sent people out to college campuses, there was like uproar. How can you do that? These kids are fried. They're going to influence your children, whatever. And now they're starting to do it. Of course, I mean, that's how it is. There's a general jealousy of Chabad, but I think they're, you know, like in order to channel the jealousy into something good, they might be actually starting to, you know, copy Chabad in different ways. It's very, you go to yeshivish kiruv events, it's much different than Chabad. Chabad's much more like, oh, you're here, I don't care if you're like whatever, you know, we're going to convert you over to Rebbe followers. And yeshivish people are like, Rebbe, tell me, is it okay for me to sing in front of the guys benching even though they're singing along? I'm like, but you're not even Jewish yet. You know, it's like, it's very, you know, this video was supposed to be about Chuvas, but maybe it became to the future of Judaism. The West Coast, by the way, is much more ahead of its time than the East Coast. The West Coast, you know, we're sitting around talking about how we can, you know, make a conference call on like Google Plus and like, you know, how many followers you have on Twitter. And the East Coast are like, so, do you have an AOL? Do you have AOL dial-up still? You know, there's people like, that's how you tell the East Coast. Someone tell you they have Hotmail and AOL and Yahoo, like, email addresses. That's like the backwards ways, and people here all have their own websites and stuff. I don't know if that's really bringing the futuristic, you know, Judaism to light, but, you know, it's all going to happen on the internet. Soon we'll have minyanin on the internet, which would be great for me, because I hate getting up in the morning, you know? It would be great to log on to, like, the futuristic, you know, Landaus online. Imagine if Landaus went to the internet, a minion every 10 minutes. And you can skip from minion to minion, so you can download Vizugah to Zimra really fast, and then you're like, yeah, I don't want to say all that stuff between Yishtabach and Shema. I'll go to the Shema minion, I'll go to Shemona Esrei, and then I'll be finished, and I have gone to minion. Not only have gone to minion, I've helped out 4 different minions in the process. Futuristic minion. That'd be good. And I'm hoping one day they'll genetically modify a pig to have to chew its cud. That would be interesting. It would be nice. I mean, I really just want a kosher pulled pork sandwich. You know, the pulled chicken. It's not